All right, it's 8 o'clock. Welcome to the first meeting of the, let's see, where's my mic? There you go. Good morning. Welcome to the first meeting of the House Insurance Committee for 2020. We have three items on the agenda. I may have a presentation from one other also. But before we get started, I'm going to ask our Vice Chairman, Steve Tarvin, if he would, to say a prayer for us.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Our Heavenly Father, we pray this morning, Lord, that you would guide us and lead us in our decision-making that affects our state, and this morning insurance in the state of Georgia. Lord, we thank you and look over our entire state, our president, and everybody in Washington that makes decisions that they send down to us. Lord, we pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Steve. Well, good morning. Welcome to this first committee meeting. I am Chairman Eddie Lumsden, new chairman of insurance. I also have a number of folks with me that I want to introduce to you today that help me do what we do here. My administrative assistant, Miss Shirley Spencer, there. We're in 220 in the Capitol. Feel free to stop by, and doors always open. Shirley will be glad to help you in any way she can. We also have Miss Leslie Solis with us, who is our intern, and she's doing a wonderful job for us there. And also Marty Wilson, who I'm not exactly sure what Marty does, but he's got some good advice, so yeah, he's always around. And my policy analyst here, Michael Pollock. So if the committee members also would like to introduce themselves, just quickly, Chuck, when you want to start, and we'll just work our way down.
Kev Strajan, House District 104, Decula and Lawrenceville.
Houston Gaines, House District 117, parts of Clark, Oconee, Jackson, and Barrow counties.
Joseph Gullett, House District 19, Paulding County.
Karen Mathiak, District 73, Spalding, Henry, and Fayette.
Chris Irwin, District 28, which is Banks, Stevens, and Habersham.
Steve Tarvin, District 2, Northwest Georgia.
Heath Clark, District 147, Warner Robins, Houston County.
Renita Shannon, House District 84, North and South DeKalb.
Carolyn Hughley, House District 136, Columbus.
Okay.
Hey, I'm Betsy Howerton with Lake Council. I'm sitting in for Vince Weekend, who's in Senate Insurance right now. So.
All right. Well, thank you all for being here. Well, we got some more down here on the front. Please, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Darlene Taylor, District 173, Thomas, Grady, and Decatur County.
Shaw Blackman, District 146, it's Houston County.
Good morning, Noel Williams. I'm House District 148, which is Crisp, Pulaski, Wilcox, and South Houston.
Good morning. My name is Viola Davis, and I'm primarily in Stone Mountain in Tucker.
Oh. Wes? Okay. Where is There you go.
Wes?
No.
Wes?
No. That's what you said.
I said that.
He said that.
Tarvin?
Bert, please. Go ahead.
West Cantrell, Cherokee County.
Sorry about that, Bert. All right. Well, as I said, thank each of you for being here this morning. We have three items on the agenda. As of yesterday, we had three that we would be voting on, but there have been some changes forthcoming on a few of those, so we'll just have the presentation. But the one that I want to do first, Mike Glanton, Representative Glanton, if you would please come forward and talk to us about House Bill 61.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. I appreciate you giving me this opportunity to present this morning House Bill 61. And if, with your permission, Mr. Chairman, I would like to ask Mr. Stacy Freeman from Grant Freeman LLC to join me this morning.
That will be fine. Thank you. Yes, please.
Likewise, Mr. Chairman, I would like to thank the subcommittee for hearing this bill last year, and thank them for not voting the bill down, but actually tabling the bill. So those of you who were involved in that last year, I certainly appreciate that as well. And so I present to you this morning LC 460253S. Now, some of you may have LC 460030. That was the original submission. And I tried to make as many copies as I thought, so many of the members have copies. But I'm going to go through the entire bill at any rate. I made about 10 copies, so I don't know who got them and who didn't. Okay. Now, I believe the chair I gave you, he has 2 copies. Is that correct? Because I gave him one, didn't you? Gave him another? You did. Okay. May I proceed, Mr. Chairman?
Okay, we need to, can we get some copies made quickly? Okay, all right. We'll have some copies made. Go ahead with your presentation, and we will get those copies distributed here momentarily.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I will actually be giving you the changes on the substitute on the original bill. So I'll go back and forth if that's okay.
All right, sir.
All right. So on line, I'm in on line 1 and 2, on the preamble actually, on line 2, it says that and it's changed the word permit, the word require to the word permit. In other words, so as to permit motor vehicle insurance companies to offer a reduction. So we took away the fact of requiring them to do it, and we also gave them the option of actually offering it rather than mandating that they do it. So that's the change in there. Also on line 3, actually 4 on the original bill, it refers to related to qualified active duty military service members for motor vehicle insurance policies to provide for related matters. But what we did was, in the original bill, it had specifically 18 to 24-year-olds. So we scratched the 18 to 24-year-olds, and now the bill simply reads motor vehicles to provide for related matters, service members, so active duty military. So we took out the age. So in other words, the insurance companies now have the ability to offer reductions in premiums to the 18-24 group, as well as anyone else that they choose to do so. Also in section 1, how this bill came about, many of you know, as I spoke in the subcommittee last year, my granddaughter, who is stationed at Fort Hood, Texas, is in that 18 to 24 year group. And she came home, and obviously I asked her to buy her car in Georgia so she could pay Georgia taxes. And so we did, and we took her down to Allen Vigil Ford and bought the car, and the price of the car was pretty good, but the price of the premium was a little tough for an 18 to 24 year old. And so that's what this bill is about, the JADAS Act. So I'm in section 2 now, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen of the committee. And of course, the definition of who we're looking at is resident means any service member of the United States military stationed in Georgia or who lists Georgia as his or her home of record. One of the things that I experienced during my military career, Mr. Chairman, is that not many, but some of my colleagues in the military would often change their home of record from states like Georgia to their home of record to be in states like Florida, North Carolina, New York, and Ohio, where they didn't have to pay taxes and other things that were required. I stayed faithful to the state of Georgia. My home of record throughout my military career was Georgia, and so I paid taxes in Georgia, whether I lived here or not, for my entire military career. So what I'm trying to do here is twofold. One, to give some relief to those 18 to 24-year-olds that are least to be able to afford it, as young privates, but also to contribute to the revenues of Georgia in two ways. One, they buy insurance in Georgia, and two, they're more likely to come back to Georgia when they retire. And so it has a benefit not only to Georgia, but to our budget as well. The other thing is I changed in line 24 on the substitute, is I changed the date from July to January 1st, 2020 to July 2021. And the rationale behind that is to give the insurance companies time to adjust and to report to the Department of Insurance the rating scheme that would go along with this. And then also we changed where it says January 1st, 2020, we changed the shall to a may. So that may be offered by the insurer a reduction in the premium. So we took out all the mandates and put in permissive. And so the other changes, still in section 2, page 2 of the substitute, we said that the proof of insurance meeting the requirements. So we took some of the language out of the original bill that actually went into details, and we just took that out and left it kind of open. So let me read it to you, line 32 of the substitute. Proof of meeting the requirements for this reduction. So in other words, regardless of who you are, regardless of your age, you would have to provide proof to the insurer that you actually meet the requirements for the reduction. And so that would be determined by the insurer. And then we say if the proof is required by the insurer. And also on line 35 of the substitute, the premium reduction permitted by this code shall be approved by the commissioner and reflected in the insurer's automobile rating plan. So ultimately, the commissioner will make a determination if the rating plan or the rating scheme is consistent with Georgia law and what the commissioner believes and deems necessary to move forward with this reduction. So basically, Mr. Chairman, we've taken out all the mandates and we've included everyone, whether you're 18 to 24 or 25 or above. The insurance company has the option to offer that insurance, provided that you are active duty military, whether you're active duty, reserve, or National Guard on active duty. With that, Mr. Chairman, I would yield for questions or any comments from Stacy, and I would ask for your support and vote on this bill.
All right, we have several questions, I believe, but since you have Mr. Freeman there, if Mr. Freeman would like to make a few comments before we start questions, that would be fine.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My name is Stacy Freeman. I represent the American Property Casualty Insurers Association of America, also known as APCIA. This is a national trade association, approximately 1,000 member companies. They write 40 to 50% of the Georgia property and casualty market, and members are folks like Georgia Farm Bureau, Geico, American Family, personal lines that you've heard of before. I'd like to thank Representative Glanton for working with us. We met with him last year several times this session and certainly appreciate his willingness to discuss this matter with us. So he did an excellent job of describing what the bill does. I'll give you a little bit of the reasons of why it would be necessary. As most of you know, insurance companies must get their rates and forms approved by the insurance department. You can't charge whatever you want, and you can't write whatever you want. And the standards that the insurance department uses are, generally speaking, that rating can't be excessive, inadequate, and it can't be unfairly discriminatory. Also, another standard is you can't engage in fictitious grouping. Things must be actuarially sound. And occupation is one of those standards that enjoys a high level of scrutiny by the insurance department and its authority. So that's really the reason that the bill is necessary in order to authorize an insurer to offer this type of discount if it so chooses. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you. We have a few questions. Representative Williamson, number 29.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To the author of the bill, Representative Glanton, first of all, I always want to thank you for your service to our country. And a follow-up, you would have more knowledge to be able to answer this question than certainly I or many members of this committee. But when we define active duty military service member, my question is there any classification of service members, like some that might not have, might be sanctioned for some reason? I guess what my question is this advantage going to be offered only to those active duty military members that are in good standing with the military? Would there be any possibility for somebody that's not in good standing with the military to be able to enjoy the lower rates? Does that make sense?
It does make sense, and thank you for the question. I would submit to you that in today's military, there's a lot less tolerance for lack of discipline, lack of good judgment, lack of really representing our armed forces in a manner in which we can be proud of, both individually and collectively. So the back end of that is, if you're not in good standing with the military today, as many of my military colleagues can attest to, you're not in the military. It's just that simple. We used to tolerate things like drunken driving, and you could move on. Things like drugs, and you can move on. Domestic violence, and you can move on. Insubordination, you could move on. Not today. So if you're not in good standing, because the military is smaller and stronger today than it was in my time, you will not be retained in the military. I think it's a great question, and I would tell you nowadays the services just won't tolerate.
Just one follow-up question, and it's sort of in that same vein for Mr. Freeman, because you wouldn't want to have bad actors getting advantage of these rates, because statistically I tell folks that insurance companies aren't moralists, they're actuaries, and you're looking for a return on the capital you deploy in any given situation. Historically, youthful drivers, they're just learning to drive. Many of us that raise kids, they have those accidents in those years, and that's why you see these high premiums. I'm very optimistic that that actuarially, this universe of drivers, 18 to 24 active duty military that are in good standing, will have better performance. My question, Mr. Freeman, is: has there already been any studies to that effect in the property casualty industry? Or any other states adopted such a policy? And if so, are you getting better results from that group of drivers than the universe at large?
Yes, sir. Unfortunately, I'm not aware of any studies. I guess you could just take, if you will, judicial notice of the fact that with the training and the discipline that folks in the military go under, that would be the case, that they would have better results. But no, sir, I'm not aware of any actual data details. And that's something I think that would ultimately be provided to the insurance department with a filing.
I think it's a great effort, and I appreciate the author bringing the bill.
Thank you so much. And Mr. Chairman, if I might add a comment to that as well. And being one from an extremely passionate family when in regards to the military, and one who has participated in the training of civilians and turning them into soldiers, I will tell you that we give them an oath, then we give them a uniform, and then we give them a gun, and we give them bullets, and then we give them orders to go on the front line, and in some cases, make the ultimate sacrifice. We trust them and their maturity to be able to, number one, not shoot each other, number two, not to shoot our allies, and number three, to be mature enough and to exercise good judgment in the protection of our Constitution and our nation. We trust them to do that. And so I'm basically saying, then they come home and we tell them that we don't trust them to be mature enough to drive a vehicle. And so that's kind of where I'm at, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee.
Thank you. Understood. We have some more questions. Representative Hughley, number 15.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To the author, I want to thank you for the work that you've done on this bill. In response to the question that was just asked, I think you're taking care of it in yours, line 32 on the second page, where they have to show proof that they're meeting the requirements to the insurer. And this proof has to be provided if required by the insurer every year. So that will be taken care of in that process. And I would imagine it will be similar to the discounts that are offered for good students. I applaud the work that you've done, and Mr. Chair, at the appropriate time, I'd like to make the motion.
Thank you so much.
We have another question, but I will be back to you in a moment. Number 18, Chairman Clark.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and to my friend, I want to thank you for the work. Just looking at the original and then the sub that you brought forward today, you did listen to some of the concerns that were expressed in the subcommittee last year, and Mr. Freeman working with you, he brought some of those, and so I just want to thank you. Also, the whole 18 to 24 thing, you kind of fixed that to me. Like if you're a 35-year-old serving, still active duty, showing good record, good driving record, good military standing, that they'll be able to get some kind of good driver discount that might not have been available to them before, either under the original version. So I think capturing all of that is probably much more the intent of your heart with the, even beforehand with Jada's Act. So thank you for all the work you did on this bill.
And thank you to my good friend and my former suite mate. I certainly appreciate the role that you played in helping me to be here today, because you made the motion to table the bill last year versus voting the bill down. And so certainly I appreciate that on behalf of all the men and women in our military and armed forces. Thank you so much.
All right, that's all the questions the committee has at the moment. Is there anyone who has signed up to speak for this bill? Okay, we do not have anyone. So, Representative Hughley, I believe you had.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to move due pass on House Bill 61.
We have a motion and a second. Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? No. Mr. Glanton, your bill passes the committee.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, members of the committee, and have a great and blessed day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, we have House Bill 583. As I mentioned previously, all of these bills as of yesterday afternoon we thought were complete and ready to go, but a few minor changes have been noted. And we'll probably, we will not be taking a vote. We'll just be hearing the information on these today. But if you would, Representative Williams, Noah Williams, please come and present to us House Bill 583.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is something we looked at last year, and we got it through, and then somehow it came back in the Senate, and God forbid politics got involved, and the last day it kind of fell. So I'm not as up to date on this year because this was handed to me yesterday afternoon, and then I was told last night there were going to be some changes. So I'm simply going to go over the talking points with you if it pleases the chair.
Please do.
And then once you have questions, I will definitely have my experts up here to answer them. And I appreciate you letting me follow the gentleman Glanton, because he's so well versed and spoken, and then I have to come up here behind him. So thanks a lot, Mr. Chairman.
We all do what we have to do.
So I'm going to go over the talking points of this House Bill 583, dealing with travel.
Which version are we working from here? Is this
it's LC 43-131-7ER.
All right, very good.
House Bill 583 deals with travel insurance. It creates a more level playing field and provides more uniform regulations across the state. It codifies important consumer protections so that plans are fair and reasonable. With the exception of a few changes made by our Legislative Council, House Bill 583 is substantively the same as the National Association of Insurance Commissioners Travel Insurance Model Act, NAIC 632-1. The NAIC Model Act was carefully vetted by stakeholders working with the NAIC and the National Council of Insurance Legislators, consumer advocacy groups, and various industry members. The model was assembled from the best features of travel insurance laws from many states and then added a few robust consumer protections. Specifically, the model bill clarifies permissible sales practices and applies unfair trade practice laws. It creates a uniform product structure that improves efficiency and product cost savings, prohibits the use of negative actions or opt-out requirements, imposes consumer disclosures in addition to standard states' insurance laws, allows for its sale using group or blanket policies, and specifies calculation and payment of premium taxes in a more uniform manner. Also, in the past 13 months since it was approved by the NAIC, 6 other states have gone to this model and will be enacted in more states by the end of 2020. Are there any questions? Or should I call John Barber or Hannah with, or Wes with Insurance Department?
Certainly.
Wes with Insurance Department, would you like to say a few words? Or? Okay, Steve, would you like to come up and speak to this?
Morning, Chairman.
Good morning, Steve.
Committee members. We too got involved in this yesterday, so we've got some of the notes. Our main concern is to make sure the consumers are protected. This is putting in a structure that I think we do favor, but we want to ensure that all the people involved in the selling of travel insurance across the state have the proper license, and that we have the authority to oversee that, be able to make sure nothing's falling between the cracks. And I think that's the concern. And my understanding this morning, there may be some conversation after this meeting to go over some of those concerns to sort of tighten it up.
All right. Very good. And this is, as I said, an information-only meeting, and I think we have a few folks that are here that want to make some comments regarding that. If you would, please make your way to the podium. John, did you?
Well, Mr. Chairman, I can make this very brief. I'll echo the comments made from Steve Manderson. I'm John Barber on behalf of the Independent Insurance Agents of Georgia. So we share the exact same concerns as the department. Just want to make sure that there is a level playing field and that the department has the authority, to regulate this properly. So after this meeting, we'll be meeting with all interested parties, and hopefully by the next meeting, we can bring something that would be acceptable for all.
All right. Thank you. Give us the history on this one. Did we pass this last year? Did you say?
Yes. It passed out, and then it went to the Senate, and we made a minor change when the Senate version came back the day before sine die, and they did not approve it.
All right. All right. We do have a question. Representative Williamson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And just a simple question. What problem are we actually trying to solve here? Have we had bad actors in this space in Georgia?
I think in the past there have been some bad practices of selling the travel insurance, and we were just trying to codify it and make it systematic and make sure that the correct people with licenses were selling it, that were knowledgeable about the product, and you just weren't buying it through vending machines, that it was more through insurance houses.
Do we have somebody else who can speak to answer my question?
Right.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Again, my name is Stacy Freeman, representing APCIA, and some of our members write this product and do support the bill. And to your question, I think really what it is just an effort to modernize the statute. The statute for a long time has contemplated travel insurance being sold on a limited lines basis. And so with technology, travel sites, the way things are sold right now, I think the industry in general said we need to try to streamline and modern this nationwide. So that's really kind of the generic purpose of it.
Thank you.
All right, we have another question. Representative Davis, number 7.
Okay, my question is this: on page 7, lines 230 through 234, I saw that you lined through the section talking about the penalty, but then when I turned on page 8, line 275 through 282, you went more in detail about the penalty. Can you explain the difference between the two?
Representative.
Again, Mr. Chairman, Stacy Freeman representing APCIA. So the strikeouts that you reference on line 230 to 234 on page 7 are referencing the Unfair Trade Practices
Right.
Act. Yes, ma'am. And so the thought was to simply replace that with something that is more specific to this product. At this time, I couldn't go line by line with the differences in the Unfair Trade Practices Act, but that was the thought, was to tailor the prohibitions and sanctions specifically to this product.
Okay. At first, I was concerned. I didn't understand why you were getting rid of the penalty, but then I saw you picked it back up.
Yes, ma'am.
On the following page. Okay.
All right. Any more questions from the committee? If not, thank you. This is, as I said, presentation only. Those changes will be forthcoming, and we will revisit this at our next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
The next item we have is House Bill 716 by Representative Shaw Blackman. Chairman Blackman, if you would, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the committee, bring before you House Bill 716. We filed this last session towards the end.
LC 460176, is that the version we're working from?
It is. I have one minor change that the committee might entertain that I'll mention when we get to that point, Mr. Chairman, if you are so desirous.
Very good. Go ahead.
Just to put a little history here. A couple of years ago, this body approved some legislation, and it is this entire code section, due to some of the unintended consequences of the ACA. And I think what we found is that agents who were providing a service were at times not being commissioned for that work. And so the legislation, as you can read, prior would have required these carriers to pay agents based on the rates that they filed with the insurance commissioner. So over time, we have seen that there were workarounds and some things that would allow these commissions to be omitted entirely or changed or not paid. And in order for the insurance commissioner to properly enforce what we have, there are a couple of edits that we have made in the legislation. And so as you can see in lines 14 and 15, it says such carriers shall file. So that would require a filing of the rates, and that commission would be paid consistent, with those filings. And then down below, we also had, I guess, some language that was interpreted a couple of different ways by legislative counsel, whereby if you enroll during a special enrollment period, that the commission would not apply, and that was the intent initially, but upon renewal that it would. And so this does handle that, and it would actually claw back and pick up that enrollment. So the intent was not to allow people to jump in and out randomly, and those commissions be realized in that event. So that being said, that's the nuts and bolts of the bill. I will tell you that it obviously something that the agents have asked for. I think it is beneficial to our small businesses across this state and those that require some help and assistance when it comes to insurance coverage. I can certainly speak for my own business and say that is certainly the case. And the one change that has been recommended, seeing as how we have a system of health care now that changes rapidly from year to year, is if the committee is so desirous to move it at all to include a repeal date of December 31 of 2025, in which case it would need to be renewed should all this still apply.
All right. Are there questions from the committee? No questions. All right. Do we have people signed up to speak on this bill? Okay. Okay. Michael Wallace, Georgia Association of Health Underwriters. Mr. Wallace, if you would, please.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, ladies of the committee. My name is Michael Walker, and I'm president of the Georgia Association of Health Underwriters. We are a 500-member organization comprised of agents and brokers throughout the state of Georgia. Our mission is to provide advice, be a resource, and provide customer care to the citizens of the state of Georgia. I'd like to convey that we're in full support of this bill. It will allow us to continue to fulfill our role and our objectives on a consistent basis. So with that being said, I want to say thank you for allowing me to come to speak, and I'll urge you to support this bill.
Any questions of the presenter? All right, thank you. Next we have Vince Lally or Brad Carver.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Brad Carver on behalf of the National Association of Insurance and Financial Advisors. We represent health insurance agents and life insurance agents across the state of Georgia. We applaud this legislation, and along with the health underwriters, we fully support this legislation. We think it does a great thing. It does a great thing for our agents, but it also does a great thing for the end-use customer, as you've heard from the bill sponsor, Representative Blackman. One of the unfortunate consequences of the Affordable Care Act was the mandatory loss ratio. And so with MLR, you actually have an 85% requirement for large policies to be spent on health claims and expenditures. What that does is it leaves 15% administrative costs for all administrative costs. And then the same goes for the individual and small group policies, that's 20%. So before the Affordable Care Act, that was about 1/3. And so what happened was this legislation, which was done with the intent to try to bring down health care costs, which is laudable, unfortunately what got squeezed in the process was agent commissions. And what we have seen across the United States is we have lost about 2/3 of our health agents across the country. And what that means is there's fewer and fewer people to be able to advise individuals and small businesses to help them navigate through this arena. And so it is something that we're trying to address at the national level. And we hope with global healthcare reform that's one of the things that gets taken care of. It's been a priority of Senator Johnny Isakson to do. It is certainly a bipartisan effort as well. And so we think that will be done at some point. So that is one of the reasons why the bill sponsor is looking at sunsetting this, because at some point we do hope we have bipartisan healthcare reform that takes care of some of these unintended consequences. But this will do great things for our agents. I'll also comment on, we applaud the carriers as well, because they've worked through this issue for several years with us. They have been in a real bind because of that limitation, and it puts a real squeeze on them. And so we understand that. And one of the things that we supported in the original legislation was to not require this for special enrollment periods. As a lot of you know, the reasons that can be used for special enrollment has grown dramatically. And so we understood that, and that was part of our compromise from a few years ago. And so this will just basically codify that, clarify that, and give the commission the ability to enforce these provisions. We support this, and on behalf of all our insurance agents across the state, as well as the end-use customer that benefits from our services, we appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any questions of the presenter? Number 22. Representative Gamble.
At the appropriate time, I'd like to make a motion.
As I understand it, there are some changes that are forthcoming.
Just the one that I would present to you, Mr. Chairman, and the committee, if there is a desire to have that sunset in 2025, December 31st of 2025 is the only change. I believe Vince can, let you know the number of the substitute should that be wished to be substituted in this instance, but that is the only change.
All right.
Well, I think as you just heard from Brad, is that the idea is that if not to leave this on the books, if healthcare is overhauled or changed at some point where this would not be necessarily needed. Now, if it
Can we cross that bridge?
yes, sir, we can. Yes, ma'am, we can. Just wanted to make sure that option was on the table. I'm perfectly comfortable with passing as it is.
Well, it seems that we have some desire to at least move. So, taking Representative, if there are no further questions, Representative Gamble, you want to make that motion?
I make a motion that we do pass House Bill 716 LC 460176.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Like sign. All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. We have one other bill that I would like to just let the author have an opportunity to give us an overview of it. We're not taking any action on it at this time, but Representative Williams is with us. If you would please come forward and you can have a seat and just give us a quick presentation on the bill that you've talked with me about, that you've already dropped.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman and committee. Thank you all for giving me just a few minutes to speak with you. What I've introduced is Gracie's Law. This is House Bill 842. A lot of people signed this bill when I presented it from the well. This prevents discrimination against developmentally disabled or physically disabled people for organ or tissue transplant. That's all it does. There's 13 other states that recognize this law at this time, and we modeled ours after Louisiana's law. It went into effect last year, and it was named Evie's Law. What it says is basically people with disabilities are often denied equal access to organ transplants just because they have a disability. I think that all life is precious and everyone should have the opportunity. And this comes from a constituent in my district. The little girl was born with Down syndrome. She had a hole in her heart, thinking they may have to do a heart transplant. And there was nothing, even with the Americans for Disabilities Act that was passed in 1990, there was nothing to prevent discrimination against someone because they had Down syndrome or other mental or physical disability. So I've asked Mr. Chairman for a meeting so I can present this to your committee, and he was gracious enough to allow me to come present it to you today, and I thank you. If you would look at it, if you have any questions, I'll be glad to meet with you, answer any questions.
All right, we have a few questions. If you would entertain a few, this is not any official action, but number 15, Representative Hughley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Representative Williams, in the example that you gave, was the child not eligible for a transplant because of the disability?
Well,
is that what you're saying?
Well, what I'm saying is there was nothing in Georgia law to prevent discrimination against someone with this physical disability. Even though we have Americans for Disabilities Act, there was nothing to specifically say that you cannot discriminate against someone with this disability. This child wound up not having to have a transplant. She wound up she had a hole in her heart, and they were able to repair it. And so she's doing fine. She's almost a year old now, cutting her first tooth and learning a few words. So You know, this has been publicized on Channel 5, Channel 11, Channel 2, Channel 13, 14, 41 down in my district. Macon Telegraph, there's an article in today's, the update that we get from the different news media. And I just appreciate your consideration.
Representative Taylor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for bringing this bill. I have a niece that has disabilities when she was born, and she was unable to get a kidney. She was very fortunate as a young child. Her mother was able to give a kidney. It was difference in size, but it worked, and she's still here, and she's in her 30s. So thank you for bringing this.
Thank you. Also, I have run this bill past Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. All of their people and doctors and medical staff have looked at it. They have no issue with it, no problem with it. This is the Down Syndrome Association of Atlanta has endorsed it, and ARC Georgia has also endorsed it. So I thank y'all very much.
All right. Well, we just wanted to give you an opportunity to explain that to us, and we will get this on the calendar in the near future.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
I believe that concludes our business here today. Thank you for being here. We are dismissed.